Trump is not secretly doing any of this. All of this is just so blatantly out in the open. None of this is a secret. It's called Trump coin. Like, I don't even know if Putin is this blatant, right? Well, like, what if you would ask Putin about oligarchy sucking up the hammer, giving him money personally? I don't even know if they're this open in Russia about it. Like, you at least pretend.
Do you know this logo? Probably not, but it's a company that's about to make Trump and his family billions. Trump doubled his fortune within a year thanks to crypto. The Trump family is positioning themselves as major players in the industry, leveraging the presidency like no one before them. So investigative reporters took a closer look at their crypto ventures, and they uncovered a story of get-rich-quick advisors and dating gurus turned business partners. A foreign investment, White House access for sale, paused fraud lawsuits, and presidential pardons. The world's most powerful man is reshaping an industry his businesses are deeply invested in. And somehow, outside that industry, hardly anyone seems to notice. How did the Trump family pull this off? This video is partially based on an investigative report by Eric Lipton, David Yaffe-Bellani, and Ben Protez for the New York Times. You'll find the link in the description.
Fake news.
In 2019, Trump tweeted, quote, "I'm not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money, and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air. Unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activity." In 2021, he said,
Bitcoin, it just seems like a scam.
But by July 2024, he said this during a Bitcoin conference in Nashville.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
A stark turnaround. What happened? When Biden enters office in 2020, his administration increases regulation of the crypto industry in several ways. The goal
They entered office at the beginning of 2021.
is to better protect investors from the risks and volatility of the crypto market. Most importantly, the Biden administration empowers the Securities and Exchange Commission to regulate crypto companies. The SEC goes into action under the newly appointed chairman Gary Gensler. It starts charging crypto companies to create legal precedent. For example, the agency goes after the creators of the Terra cryptocurrency. Terra wiped out $40 billion in market value when it collapsed in 2022. It charges the responsible company and its founder with orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar crypto asset securities fraud. The SEC argues that cryptocurrencies are simply securities, a financial asset like stocks. That definition comes with a whole set of compliance requirements, which crypto companies often don't meet. So the agency goes after them for listing unregistered securities, for misleading marketing, and for failing to register tokens as securities. Within 3.5 years, the agency issues roughly $6 billion in total penalties across about 100 cases. The crypto industry doesn't like it. In their view, it doesn't make sense to treat all crypto as securities. According to them, they don't fit the definition. They want less regulation. And so do many crypto enthusiasts who feel that the Biden administration is hostile towards crypto. Enter the presidential race of 2024. A sizable chunk of voters is worried about this issue. Over 50 million Americans own crypto, and over 2 million join a crypto advocacy group. Politically, it makes sense for Trump to change course.
Over 50 million Americans own crypto? I don't know if I believe that. Does this include, like, if you own, like, part of a huge ETF and that ETF has, like, some diversified part in crypto? That sounds really high, but...
To appeal to these voters and corporations frustrated with his opponent.
I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
He first dipped his toes into crypto in 2022 with
That's like 12% of Americans or something. It's really not that many. Wait, that was a troll, right?
an NFT collection. He claims seeing how many people paid in crypto for these NFTs changed his mind on the issue. Also, he begins to receive sizable donations from crypto companies for his presidential campaign. This election is the first time the crypto industry went all in on lobbying efforts. But another thing is happening behind the scenes. Donald Jr. and Eric are the key players in the Trump family's business operations. According to the New York Times, they supposedly convinced their dad that embracing crypto would not just be a smart political move, they could also make quite a bit of money with it. They came up with two ideas, a coin and a bank. Both will be incredibly successful. It's not just money. Our lives are increasingly digital. But until recently, mobile internet was annoyingly physical. We travel a lot for our reporting, and a hefty roaming charge will scare flight mode right into you. But recently, we completely switched to Sally's eSIM service. No more hassle to find a SIM on site, no more ripoffs and insane roaming charges. Sally gets us instant eSIM data in 200 destinations. That's fast, borderless connectivity straight from our phones. Just download the app, pick one of their many plans, and install with a few clicks. Their pricing is more than fair, and you can easily top up. It's legitimately a game changer. And that's not all. Sally comes with a bunch of useful extras. A virtual location feature for more privacy, and an ad blocker that saves up to 28.6% data. And right now, you can get an exclusive 15% discount on Sally's data plans. Simply download the app and use code FERNTV at checkout. We can wholeheartedly recommend it. Meme coins are like digital collectibles. There's a limited supply for each coin, and if one takes off, its value can skyrocket. On January 17, Trump unveils his own meme coin.
Holy sh! I just realized that's what meme coin means. I always use meme coin as like a insult. Like this coin is a meme, but I guess it actually means that you buy memes with it. I guess it's the same thing, really. It should be. Oh God, that hurts me so much more. I should have clarified that in the past, because meme coin, I guess, sounds semi-legitimate, I guess, to these people. Me.
It comes with a disclaimer that it's not an investment opportunity and has nothing to do with any political office. The launch goes extremely well. Millions of people buy it. Within days, it becomes one of the most popular and valuable meme coins in the world. Two Trump businesses control 80% of all coins, a share worth $58 billion at one point. That would be about 90% of Trump's net worth. Shortly after, the value plummeted and so far never recovered. In consequence, nearly half of the people who bought this coin lost money. A tiny group of people made enormous profits. The Trump family hasn't actually sold their coins, which are still theoretically worth billions. But they made an incredible amount of money nonetheless, through the sale of the tokens and transaction fees. The Financial Times estimates a figure of at least $335 million. Under the Biden administration, Trump's and other meme coins might have been investigated by the SEC. They're a hotbed for wild financial speculation and scams, and most buyers tend to lose money. But that doesn't happen in this case. And once Trump is in power, he replaces the head of the SEC, as promised.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
Shortly after, the agency publishes a statement saying that meme coins are essentially not to be investigated or regulated by them because they can't be defined as securities. The agency also ends their investigation into several crypto companies. Experts are quick to point out a conflict of interest. The president and his family profit from crypto, while he's also the one setting crypto policy. Crypto executives fear Trump's coin could damage the industry's reputation, one they've been working to rebuild after years of scandals. But it doesn't end here. In April 2025, it's announced that the top 220 holders of Trump's coin will be invited to a private dinner with the president. The top 25 will also get access to an exclusive pre-dinner reception and a special VIP tour of the White House. Mostly foreign crypto investors spent a total of $148 million on Trump coins for a chance to attend. Crypto entrepreneur Justin Sun alone seems to have paid $16 million. More on him in a minute. The attendee list was not published, but other notable figures included the crypto investors Sungrok O, Kine Warwick, and the meme coin startup Memecore. This might give the impression that one can buy access to the President of the United States. Luckily, the White House clarified.
The president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable. The American public believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency.
But all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. This story has been in the news extensively. Meanwhile, the full extent of the Trump family's involvement in crypto is concealed within a far more ambitious and far less public venture. According to Eric Trump, it's one of the most successful things they ever did. On September 16, 2024, Trump announced the launch of a new venture called World Liberty Financial. This new business is run by his sons Eric, Donald Jr., and Barron. The goal is to become a kind of crypto bank, a place where people can borrow and lend money in digital currencies. Their plans are laid out in this gold paper that has Trump all over it. He's listed as the company's chief crypto advocate. DT Marks DeFi LLC is a corporate entity of the Trump family. Trump's assets are managed by his children, but he still directly benefits from them. This entity owns roughly 40% of World Liberty Financial. The other four founders include Zach Witkoff and his father Steve Witkoff, a real estate mogul, longtime friend of Trump, and his special envoy to the Middle East. The Atlantic dubbed him the real Secretary of State. Then there are Zachary Falkman, known as Z-Money, and Chase Harrell. The two were reportedly brought in through Zach Witkoff, and they had rather interesting careers before teaming up with the president's family to launch a crypto bank. Z-Money once ran a site called Date Hotter Girls.
Like what it is that you want to do to this girl, throwing her up against the wall and ripping her clothes off.
According to the New York Times, the two also sold colon cleanses and gave get-rich-quick advice. In any case, this team gets right to work. First, World Liberty Financial begins to sell a new cryptocurrency called WillFi. The Trump family is entitled to 75% of the revenue from these coin sales, after a minimum has been generated that will stay in the company. Whoever buys gets voting rights in the company in the future. The purchase essentially makes you a shareholder. The Trump family owns $22.5 billion of these coins. The goal is to sell $300 million worth of this new currency. But at the end of October, sales are at just a few $1 million. Then, election night changes everything.
Thank you very much. Wow. Incredible movement.
Incredible.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
Big things on the horizon for World Liberty Financial. Suddenly, people are starting to buy. Many investors are from places like Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong, and the United Arab Emirates. They are legally not allowed to donate to a presidential campaign, but WillFi offers a nice workaround to back Trump. Other investors previously had trouble with the SEC. Here, one man stands out, Justin Sun. At the time, the SEC is suing him and his companies for fraud and securities violations. They allege the unregistered trading of securities.
You need a context clip for that tweet to hit? No, you don't. Anybody who's most successful venture with crypto is a loser. You don't need any context for that.
extensive wash trading to make it seem that particular coins had trading activity to inflate their price, and the undisclosed promotion of two coins through multiple celebrities. Sun spends a total of $75 million on World Liberty's coins after the election.
Wait, this wasn't the guy who was involved in the, was it the website like crypto.com? Am I imagining this? Was this a fever dream during COVID that like Matt Damon was doing commercials for? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Oh my God.
With 4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
That notorious
I call it the wheel. I don't think so. What does it do? It rolls. Yeah, so does a bagel, okay? A bagel you can eat.
One of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Brother David, behold, the fork. I got 10 forks right here, baby. Am I right?
Wouldn't it only be 5 forks?
My lord? What is it? A toilet, my lord. A toilet? You expect this court to do its business inside? We're not animals. We go outside like humans.
It's coffee. It's new.
It's awful.
You don't like it?
I'm all jittery and feel like I got a big job coming on.
Hancock, you sign first.
You king! Gentlemen, have you taken leave of your senses?
The people shall have the right to vote.
Even the stupid ones?
Yes.
Stupid people vote?
Yes.
Hard!
The only part that makes you wonder.
Edison, can I be honest with you? It stinks. Does your wife know what's going on here?
She knows I go to work.
You're wasting your time, and it's sad. You might as well put the dishes in the shower. Hey, Catherine, what's cooking?
We're putting a man on the moon.
Are you out of your mind? I can't even get tuna without celery. Nobody's gone to the moon, ever.
Why not?
It's too far. It's far. It's really far. It's far.
我々の未来はポータブルミュージックです。
バカか。バカか。わかるだろう。わかるだろう。わかるだろう。出ていけ！みんないるのか？怖いんだ！ああ！バッタリーがいつもやるぞ！バッタリーどこ？バッタリー！
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never. Franklin! Hey, I left my cane in there. What? What do you mean? Hey, that's an expensive cane!
What happened with FTX again? Yeah, maybe Larry was right. The trial ended on November 2nd, 2023, with the jury pronouncing Bankman-Fried guilty on all 7 counts. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for March 28th, 2024. He sentenced him to 25 years in prison. Under provisions of the First Step Act and in conjunction with the other time credit programs, he may actually serve approximately 18 years. The court ordered the defendant to pay the sum of $11.02 billion in forfeiture for engaging in a series of fraudulent actions against customers and investors. Prison consultant? That's a job? Wait, what? A prison consultant provides newly convicted criminals with advice on how to cope and survive in prison. Prison consultants may also provide a client's attorney with advice on how to lobby the sentencing judge for a shorter sentence. They may advise white-collar and celebrity criminals, high-level drug dealers, and disgraced politicians to help them navigate prison. Well, this is like a nice form of employment for convicts, ex-cons. Jesus.
According to him, that has nothing to do with the giant lawsuit and is simply...
Wait a second. How has this guy not been pardoned yet? That's the real question. What?
A vote of confidence in Trump. Then Trump is inaugurated and Gensler steps down as chairman of the SEC. Shortly after, the agency requests to pause the lawsuit against Sun. In 2024 alone, Trump made 57...
Yeah, I remember that. That leaked document was hilarious. They thought, I think, that they were going to get caught, and then they had like a plan for like, okay, well, if we got caught, you know, what are we going to do? These are all random, probably bad ideas that aren't vetted, confidential. 1, file the doc with problems about the Chapter 11 process. That's bankruptcy. No draft here. 2, go with the, quote, the lawyers were in a shitty situation, and I feel really bad about that. And like most people do, they reacted poorly to difficult circumstances. Narrative. 3, go on Tucker Carlson, come out as a Republican. While public contributions show one thing, you see another thing, including super PACs, come out against the woke agenda, Talk about how the cartel of lawyers is destroying value and throwing entrepreneurs under the bus in order to cover up the incompetence of lawyers. 4, leak this document to the press. 5, focused almost exclusively on the fact that we could give value back to customers and the Chapter 11 team is destroying it. Focus on the fact that the Chapter 11 team has no idea how to run FTX. It's colonial, run by a cartel of lawyers. Come out as extremely pro-crypto and pro-freedom. Come out with a strong anti-Binance message. Go head-to-head with Matt Levine on odd lots. Really lean into arguments. I would have loved to have seen that. Lean in to the story. Really, it was because of tail risk crashes. This was improbable. NAV was like plus 50 billion earlier this year. 15. Radical honesty on Twitter. Just explain exactly what happened in detail. Send out a Twitter poll asking people what to do.
So
Tucker Carlson didn't. I didn't even know this.
Yeah,
So he did get his interview with Tucker Carlson. It was just a little bit too late, I guess.
I'm in NBC Brooklyn. In a little.
I gotta say, we've never talked before, but obviously I've watched you from afar, and I just also say I feel sorry for every man in prison, no matter what he's accused of or did. I don't think we should be locking people away. I guess we have to, but I feel sorry for everyone in prison. I'll just say, call me liberal. But you do seem kind of healthier and less jumpy, I have to say, after 2 years in prison.
I've had a lot of time to reflect on how to communicate, and in retrospect, I think I was not effective at communicating, especially when the crisis first hit. And, in the months thereafter, I made a mistake I often make. I get swept up in details and forget to communicate the bigger picture.
You seem like you were just flying high on Adderall every time I saw you on TV. You don't seem that way now. Were you?
No, I wasn't. But I was, my mind was racing because there were, a billion things to keep track of. Which sort of typically back when I was running FTX, I'd go on to have an interview, but, while on the interview, there'd be 2 issues I'd have to resolve with the company. So I'd have sort of one eye on Slack open, responding to messages. And I knew that I had something else I had to do right after the interview that I hadn't had time to prepare for yet, that I was sort of preparing for in the back of my mind.
So maybe like the digital world is bad for us. Is that, what's your view of that? You've been taken away from your phone. So
yeah.
That's,
Glaze Trump.
What do you think of the future of crypto? Obviously you must have complicated feelings since you were in a crypto company, you're in jail because of it. But you know a lot about the topic. You sort of feel like things are moving very fast on crypto. Do you think they're moving in a good direction? I know it's sort of weird to ask you this question, but I can't resist.
No, hopefully is what I would say. You look at what the Trump administration said, going into office. There are a lot of good things. There are a lot of things that, were very different from the stance that the Biden administration took, that the SEC took. Obviously, the follow through is what matters. And that's the stage that we're at now, which is what will come of this. And, not surprisingly, changing the guard helps. But financial regulators, they're big, giant bureaucracies in the federal government. They're not used to change overnight. And they have been playing a really obstructive role for, a decade in crypto. The US, it's 30% of the world's finance. It's about 5% of the world crypto. And the reason it's entirely regulatory, it's just the US was unique in its difficulty to work with. So I think the big question is, what's the reason it's entirely regulatory? It's just the US was unique in its, the US, it's 30% of the world's finance. It's about 5% of the world crypto. And the reason it's entirely regulatory, it's just the US was unique in its difficulty to work with. So I think the big question is,
as compared to who?
When rubber meets the road, will the administration do what needs to be done and figure out how to do it?
I remember when the concept of crypto first arrived in the popular press, and the whole idea was that this was a currency that could restore to the individual his freedom of commerce. I get to buy and sell things without the government controlling me, and I could do it privately, restore my privacy as well. And that obviously has never happened. It doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen, and I don't hear anybody say it anymore. And now it just seems like it's kind of another asset scam. Whatever happened to, these are broad brush statements, but whatever happened to the privacy thing?
Oh, it's a really good question. And there's sort of related thing about the technology, right? Payments, remittances, all the things that are not just an investment, but ways that crypto can actually be useful for the world. They happen on longer time scales than investments do, basically. With what social media has become, you see bubbles grow and pop on a daily, monthly basis. Technology is built out on a decade basis. So, right now, crypto is not quite at a point where it could become an everyday tool of, a quarter of the world or something. The tech isn't there yet, but it's not that far away. And if the industry keeps making progress rather than getting distracted too much by market prices, then, 5-10 years from now, you can imagine.
I don't know anything about Binance. FTX indictment, a little bit of fraud. Binance indictment, LOL, fuck it, we ball. So give them a heads up to ensure they don't connect from a US IP, don't leave anything in writing. They have non-US entities. Let's also make sure we don't hit the biggest market makers with that email first. Do you have Signal? After receiving information regarding Hamas transactions, Lim explained to a colleague that terrorists usually send small sums, as large sums constitute money laundering. Lim's colleague replied, you could barely buy an AK-47 with $600. Binance customers, including customers from Russia, Lim acknowledged, come on, they're here for crime. Binance's MLRO agreed that we see the bad, but we close 2 eyes. A deliberate approach where they conduct their operations through various entities to avoid regulation. The user is a big trader or a smart one, he or she will get the hint. Just do a half-assed individual sub-audit, fake the annual MLRO report. Lim, who is aware that Binance did not have a board of directors. It's fine. I can get management to sign off on the fake report in no time. Jesus, what happened with Binance? I don't even know what Binance was. Was it another big exchange? Small funds don't get around money laundering laws. No, but I believe if you do a $10,000 transfer, I think that any amount in $10,000 or more will always flag some regulator. I don't know who. Is it the FDIC? I'm not sure, but some regulator always gets flagged on those types of transactions. Binance also intentionally tried to hide the scope of its compliance program's ineffectiveness from its business partners. Oh, I thought this was from regulators. This is from their business partners. Oh no. For example, in or around October 2020, Binance underwent a compliance audit to satisfy a request from Paxos. But according to Lim, Binance purposely engaged in a compliance auditor that would just do a half-assed individual sub-audit on geofencing to buy us more time. As part of this audit, the Binance employee who held the title of Money Laundering Reporting Officer lamented that she needed to write a fake annual MLRO report to the Binance board of directors. What the Lim, who is aware that Binance did not have a board of directors, nevertheless assured her, yeah, it's fine. I can get management to sign off on the fake report. Around the same time as the referenced half-assed compliance audit in November 2020, the MLRO exclaimed to Lim in a chat, "I has no confidence in our geofencing." Internally, Binance officers, employees, and agents have acknowledged that the Binance platform has facilitated potential legal activities. For example, in February 2019, after receiving information regarding Hamas transactions on Binance, Lim explained to a colleague that terrorists usually send small sums, as large sums constitute money laundering. Lim's colleague replied, "You can barely buy an AK-47 with $600. As with regard to certain Binance customers, including customers from Russia, Lim acknowledged in a February 2020 chat, like, come on, they're here for crime. Binance's MLRO agreed that we see the bad, but we close two eyes." That's where it was. Jesus. Lim's internal discussions with compliance colleagues illustrate that Binance has tolerated Binance customers' use of the platform to facilitate illicit activity. For example, in July 2020, a Binance employee wrote to Lim and another colleague asking if a customer whose recent transactions were very closely associated with illicit activity and over $5 million USD worth of his transactions were indirectly sourced from questionable services should be offboarded, or if it was in the class of cases where we would want to advise the user that they can make a new account. Lim chatted in response, "Can let him know to be careful with his flow of funds, especially from darknet, like Hydra. He can come back with a new account, but this current one has to go. It's tainted." For example, in September 2020 chat, Lim explained to Binance employees that they don't need to be so strict. Offboarding equals bad in CZ's eyes. Sort of the messaging, I think, would develop it. Sort of. Okay, wait. For example, on June 9th, 2019, around the time Zhao and Binance hatched their secret plot to retain U.S. customers, even after the launch of Binance Chief Financial Officer stated during a meeting with senior management. What is this? Even after the launch of Binance US? Binance.us. Oh, I see. Okay. Even after the launch of Binance.us, Binance's Chief Financial Officer stated during a meeting with senior management, including Zhao, it's Zhao. No, ZH has a different pronunciation. I keep forgetting it. She is as like XH or something, right? What is ZH? Sort of. Is it J? Zhao. Sort of. The messaging, I think, would develop it as we go along is rather than saying we're blocking the US, is that we're preparing to launch Binance.us. So we would never admit in publicly or privately anywhere that we serve US customers in the first place because we don't. So it just so happens that we have a website and people sign up and we have no control over access by US customers, but we will never admit that we openly serve US clients. That's why the PR messaging is very, very critical. CZ, I know it's a pain in the ass, but it is my duty to constantly remind you, 1, we have made no mention of sanctions or support of sanctions on our platform already. And 2, are we going to proceed to block sanctioned countries' IP addresses? We currently have users from sanctioned countries on the .com. Or do you want to adopt a clearer strategy after we engage and finalize our USA strategy? Downside risk is if FinCEN or OFAC, financial something or OFAC, I don't know, has concrete evidence that we have sanctioned users, they might try to investigate or blow it up big on the world stage. In the same chat, Lim recognized that Binance's customer support was teaching people how to circumvent US sanctions. Jesus. Any crypto companies want to sponsor you? Maybe, but anything having to do with crypto NFTs, I generally, since I started doing like just mainly political stuff, I usually just ignore it. But also like a lot of those things are like automated emails anyway, so I don't even know how serious a lot of them are. Anything having to do with any AI shit. Actually, it's really just all of them. I don't think I've taken a sponsor in like a year and a half. Oh, except for Ground News. FinCEN is Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Guys, this is why you're supposed to have 2 sets of books, okay? The regulators aren't supposed to see your your actual illegal communications. Jesus Christ. Binance is so effective at obfuscating its location and the identities of its operating companies that it has even confused its own chief strategy officer. For example, in September of 2022, he was quoted as saying that Binance is a Canadian company. The chief strategy officer's statement was quickly corrected by a Binance spokesperson who clarified that Binance is an international company. Jesus. Wait, am I reading? Is this 120? What the fuck? Binance customer, wait, how much can you normally leverage in the crypto world? Binance customers may trade quarterly futures and perpetual contracts on margin or with leverage. The amount of leverage offered by Binance for trading in its quarterly futures and perpetual contracts has varied over time across its products and categories of customers. During the relevant period, customers have been allowed to trade Binance's quarterly futures and perpetual contracts with leverage ratios of up to 125 times. A leverage ratio of 125x means a customer with 1 Bitcoin in their account can assume a position worth 125 Bitcoin. Unlike the leverage that Binance offers in connection with its spot markets, Binance does not actually extend its customers alone when providing leverage to trade in Binance's derivative markets. Jesus Christ. We've done some research on this. Right now, most of the gamification trading are based on some complex derivative financial instruments such as binary options, exotic options, or perpetual swaps. The reason why we did the futures battle is we wanted to lower the barrier of complex financial products and increase the conversion/retention rate. But there are 2 things that we need to be very careful of. 1, usually these kinds of products look like gambling, which may bring us some compliance and reputation risk. So we need to make sure the product does not look like a gamble game. And 2, users might be much easier to get addicted to these products. So we need to enhance responsible trading, or you could say playing as well. Okay, Jesus. Oh, they were communicating over Signal. How did all these get leaked or caught? Destiny, you don't even know the half of it. Binance used to have flash crashes on futures, coin prices that would make the spot price of that coin implode. It would trigger auto liquidation of the margin loans and destroy people. They 100% were allowing it to happen / causing it sometimes. Well, I mean, like if you're leveraged 125%, I feel like if the wind, like if a breeze came through the office, your position would get liquidated. What the f? No, I'm sorry, not 125%, 125 times.
$7 million from WillFi token sales. We're at Liberty Financial is just getting started though. Next step, a transformative initiative. They supposedly set out to help out smaller crypto companies by investing into their coins. But the New York Times found out that these deals apparently have a not-so-public second layer. Apparently, where Liberty Financial doesn't simply buy other coins, they may propose asymmetrical currency swaps. This is how it would go. A company buys somewhere between $10 and $30 million of WillFi, and in turn, World Liberty Financial buys a smaller chunk of their coin. This way, World Liberty would reportedly make up to a 20% premium on these deals. The company's argument for these types of deals is supposedly that they're like super close to the president. Some crypto companies apparently felt World Liberty was essentially selling an endorsement, but reportedly several crypto companies struck deals with World Liberty Financial. Many others rejected them, calling the supposed approach dishonest. World Liberty Financial told the New York Times that it would be false.
I take issue with the name of this video. And I will say again, this is why Pisco is, I would bet everything I own that he's wrong on the Hassan stuff. Trump is not secretly doing any of this. All of this is just so blatantly out in the open. None of this is a fucking secret. It's called Trump coin. He called it $Trump. Jesus Christ. It's like shameless as fuck.
Absurd and dangerous to suggest that investments or partnerships with World Liberty Financial were conducted as some sort of political quid pro quo. But the New York Times found even more troubling coincidences. World Liberty Financial announced a partnership with Athena Labs in December 2024 and bought $5 million of their cryptocurrency. One of Athena's investors pleaded guilty to violating the Bank Secrecy Act in 2022. Trump pardoned him in March of 2025.
Get rid of it.
Trump also called for legislation to govern stablecoins so they could better operate in the US. Those are cryptocurrencies designed to always be worth $1. Shortly after World Liberty Financial introduced their own stablecoin, USD1. It already has a market cap of over $2 billion, making it the 5th biggest stablecoin in the world. The coin was used for a $2 billion investment into Binance by MGX. Binance is the world's largest crypto exchange. Changpeng Zhao is the founder and former CEO of the company.
This is mega minus.
Last year, he was sentenced to 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to money laundering in the US. In light of this deal, Zhao met with Zach Witkoff, Z-Money, and Chase Harrow. MGX, on the other hand, is a state-owned investment company in Abu Dhabi. The deal was led by the National Security Advisor of the United Arab Emirates. Again, some worry this could present a conflict of interest. One could argue that, through this deal, a foreign country is directly contributing to the financial benefit of the US president. And this deal is just one part of the Trump family's growing business relations in the Middle East. There's more, though. The Trump Media and Technology Group is the company behind Trump's Truth Social platform. In May, it raised more than $2 billion to buy Bitcoin. This makes the company effectively a giant bet on the cryptocurrency. Just 2 months prior, Trump had announced a national crypto reserve. Specifically, Bitcoin and Ether would be at the heart of it. In turn, these two coins and many others gained in value significantly for a period. World Liberty Financial had also been buying $240 million worth of Ether in the months before the announcement. Yet another Trump venture recently raised $220 million for Bitcoin mining. So, what does all of this mean? There are many moving pieces to the story. Reports of possibly secretly sold stakes, an apparent divestment by Steve Witkoff, new maneuvers to align Wilfi and the Trump meme coin. But this is the big picture. According to Forbes, crypto now makes up most of Trump's wealth, around 60%. Just think about that for a second. He inherited and
because he never had much otherwise. This guy was only wealthy because he was a TV star. That's what Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is a TV star. He's not a real estate mogul. He's not like a business investor genius or whatever. He's a reality TV star. He inherited a lot from his dad. He mismanaged the fuck out of a ton of it, but he made a ton of money doing The Apprentice. And that's all he has. That's why his brand is his brand. Nobody that I've heard of, maybe in different arenas, maybe people have talked differently about it. Nobody like talks about like Trump brand anything like it's the shit. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I've never in my life heard somebody say, oh my God, we got to get some Trump steaks. Oh my God, if you go to New York, you got to go see Trump Tower. It's like the most amazing. It's just like gaudy, gross, overhyped, narcissistic, like, it's just like, oh yeah, you got to go to Trump University. Jesus. He's a TV star.
Expanded a real estate empire for half a century. Now it took just a year for him to double his wealth. Is it a coincidence that this is also the year he became president again? The year in which he seized control of the most important regulatory bodies around crypto? The New York Times writes that World Liberty Financial has erased centuries-old presidential norms, eviscerating the boundary between private enterprise and government policy in a manner without precedent in modern American history. The picture Trump's crypto ventures are painting is that of an oligarchy, where rich people in trouble with the law suddenly don't have trouble anymore, where foreign governments and investors enrich the US leader directly, and where you get to go to the White House if you just give the Trump family enough money.
Like, I don't even know if Putin is this blatant with his, right? Well, like, what if you would ask Putin about oligarchy sucking up to him or giving him money personally? I don't even know if they're this open in Russia about it. Like, you at least pretend.
We asked World Liberty Financial for a comment. They did not get back to us.
Witkoff is working the deals, and the Trumps are involved in at least a few of them. There's like a dozen now. Wait, what? Do you have a source for that? I'm curious if that's actually true. Because that would be crazy if there was like an open direct. A month before President Trump's inauguration, Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff flew to the United Arab Emirates with two goals, discussing regional issues with the Abu Dhabi royal, known as the Spy Sheikh, and attending a cryptocurrency conference. Less than 5 months later, Witkoff's son, co-founder of the crypto venture, World Liberty... Oh, I didn't even know that they were connected like that. Oh, no. Witkoff is our foreign envoy who flies around and cuts all these deals. He's the one who got us. Remember when we were all debating all the retarded lefty pro-Pally retards who were like, they got a ceasefire instantly because Steve Witkoff flew before Trump was even elected. Steve Witkoff flew to, I don't even know if he flew anywhere, but supposedly he negotiated a deal for us. And then he's also negotiated tons of ceasefires in Russia and Ukraine as well. This is our foreign envoy that does all these negotiations. And then this was the guy who didn't know the regions in fucking Ukraine. He didn't know it was being contested.
Donbass, Crimea.
Secret flip off.
Which is the largest country that borders Russia, not be in NATO. And that is my understanding, my certainty is that still remains the central demand, period. No, Ukraine and NATO can't have peace without that. Doesn't want Hamas in its border. They don't want that.
This is the guy who is negotiating peace deals in other countries, including Ukraine, Russia. Okay?
What?
This guy is.
Can the U.S. deliver that?
This guy is.
Well, first of all, I think the largest issue in that conflict are these so-called four regions: Donbass, Crimea, the names Lugansk, and there's two others. They're Russian speaking.
Yep.
There have been referendums.
Like Donbass is a big geographic region that also encompasses Luhansk and Donetsk and Crimea. Like, it's just like, it's actually retarded. Or I wouldn't say it's necessarily retarded. I wouldn't expect every person to know this, but our foreign envoy who is negotiating these deals, this is the guy who is getting us ceasefires? What? How? Donbass,
How are you, Mr.
Lugansk. Less than 5 months later, Witkoff's son, co-founder of the crypto venture World Liberty Financial, took the stage at a conference in Dubai to announce the company had struck a deal for the Sheikh's company to buy $2 billion of their new cryptocurrency. The expected tens of millions of dollars in annual profits would be split between the Witkoffs and their co-founders and the Trump family, which holds a 60% stake in the company. I didn't know that they were connected like this. I didn't know that Witkoff was so closely associated with World Liberty Financial. I had no clue. I'm sorry, in that last video that we just watched, did they bring that up? Maybe they did. I was watching chat.
Chase had.
No, I think they did, his son. I didn't remember. Oh my God.
Father Steve Witkoff, a real estate mogul, longtime friend of Trump, and his special envoy to the Middle East.
Oh, he did, yeah. Sorry, we went off on the Binance. The Binance indictments.
East. The Atlantic dubbed him the real Secretary of State.
Also, yeah, why the f is this guy running off and negotiating? Why is this being handled by our State Department? On May 15th, the elder Witkoff and the Sheikh, Tanoun bin Zayed Al Nahyan, met again, this time for the unveiling of an agreement long sought by the UAE that gives the oil-rich Gulf monarchy access to millions of advanced U.S.-made computer chips. Since assuming his role as special envoy, Witkoff, a 68-year-old longtime friend of Trump's, has crisscrossed the globe in diplomatic business. At the same time, his 32-year-old son, Zach Witkoff, and a crew of advisors and associates have traveled to at least 4 countries as they pursue cryptocurrency deals that would make World Liberty an industry leader. I just need you to remember this. I need you to remember this, okay? I need you to remember this, you inbred fucks. I need you to remember this, okay? I need you to remember this, okay? Witkoff is our special envoy picked by Donald Trump that is meeting with foreign leaders, okay? And his son is the co-founder of this World Liberty Financial, of which the Trump family holds a 60% stake in, that has made the Trump family, is it over $1 billion at this point? I know he said that it was like over half their net worth. From this company alone, I'm not sure what the overall valuation of this country is, okay? And nobody knows or cares about this, okay? Remember that. This is a connection that is, not only is this a connection that is easy to understand, all right? Not only is this a connection that's easy to understand, no one is even hiding it. This is not even being hidden, okay? But remember, we're doing it. Where's the Comer video? Find me that stupid fucking Comer video with that fat fucking piece of shit.
Remember when Joe Biden told the American people that his son didn't make any money in China?
Just remember, okay? So I know this is hard to follow, so we're gonna draw this, okay? Donald Trump is the president. He has a special envoy is Steve Witkoff, okay? This guy's son has a big business called World Liberty Financial that this guy owns his family owns a 60% stake in, all right? And I guess he travels with his dad, slurping up fucking huge loads all over the world. And the result of this is arguably worth more to Donald Trump than his entire lifetime of business ventures, okay? Donald Trump, the president, handpicked a special envoy whose son has a company that Donald Trump's family has a 60% stake in, okay? That is more than doubled his net worth, okay? Pretty simple to follow, right? But this is what you wasted your tax money spending 4 fucking years investigating, okay? Just so you can know the equivalent, all right? Also, nobody knows this Witkoff shit. Nobody even knows what a special envoy, I don't even know what a special envoy is. So just a White House employee that goes and talks to people, I guess, okay? Nobody knows anything about this. Everybody knows about the horrible stuff that's here.
Remember when Joe Biden told the American people that his son didn't make any money in China?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?
Well, not only did he lie about his son Hunter making money in China, but it also turns out that $40,000 in laundered China money landed in Joe Biden's bank account in the form of a personal check.
Okay, that's kind of weird that China paid Joe Biden $40,000, I guess.
And the Oversight Committee has it. Here's how Joe Biden benefited from his family's shady deal with CEFC, a Chinese Communist Party-linked company. It all began with a shakedown in the summer of 2017 when Hunter Biden sent a message to his CEFC associate demanding a $10 million capital payment. As Hunter Biden extorted this associate, Hunter claimed he was sitting with his father and that the Biden network would turn on his associate if he didn't pony up the money. The extortion scheme worked.
No proof.
Days later, $5 million flowed in from a Chinese affiliate of CEFC. Over the following 3 weeks, Biden family members made a series of complicated financial transactions to hide the source of the China money. Here's how that happened. First, Northern International Capital, a Chinese company associated with CEFC, wired $5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture established by Hunter Biden and a CEFC associate. Then Hudson West 3 sent $400,000 to an entity owned and controlled by Hunter Biden. Next, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 to Lion Hall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden. Sarah Biden then withdrew $50,000 in cash from Lion Hall Group. Later the same day, she deposited it into her and James Biden's personal checking account. A few days later, Sarah Biden cut a check to Joe Biden for $40,000. The memo line of the check said loan repayment. Like the payment to Joe from America.
This is like, what is this, Ocean's 23? Is this the Down syndrome version of Frank Ocean and the massive heist to get $40,000 from China? What is this?
AmeriCorps funds, it's certainly plausible that the payment to Joe from AmeriCorps funds, it's certainly plausible that this payment where James and Sarah used funds from China was indeed a loan payment to Joe.
And he doesn't even know what the payment was for. They didn't even investigate it. All of the crimes that they allege here about extortion and blackmail and all of that, by the way, none of that was ever charged. None of this was ever proven. No evidence of any of that whatsoever that was ever presented to the American public, by the way.
Where James and Sarah used funds from China was indeed a loan payment to Joe. But even if this $40,000 check was a loan repayment from James Biden, it still shows how Joe benefited from his family cashing in on his name with money from China, no less. Without his family peddling his name and his son threatening a...
And remember, what these ghouls like to do is they'll try to pull you in for these secret hearings, okay? So they can pull you in for a secret hearing and then spin and do whatever the they can with your testimony into whatever conspiratorial nonsense that they do. And that's why Hunter Biden was a fucking giga chad.
Recognizes Ms. Mays from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Comer. First of all, my first question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first.
Because Hunter Biden, when they were having an open hearing, showed up and he said, hey, I'll testify publicly. What do you want to know?
Question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman.
If the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take
hear from him publicly, not subpoenaing these closed door, closed hearing bullshit sessions. If you want to do a criminal investigation, then go take it up with the DOJ. I don't even know how I feel about... I don't feel like Congress should even have the... that's probably too extreme. Should Congress even have the authority to issue a subpoena like this if you're not... Maybe for like a special... Maybe if you put together like a special panel for an investigation or something, or like a select committee for something, or maybe... Or otherwise, I just don't know why it wouldn't just be referred to for the DOJ. But to do a closed hearing? A private hearing? Maybe if it's a national security related thing, but...
Vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here? You keep interrupting me.
I'll interrupt the chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
The premise that the law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here. State your point, Mr. Biggs. My point of order is this. Are we going to continue on with this blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate. I intend to give my statement. I don't intend to have anybody interrupt. Right. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just interrupted a woman.
And that's fine. I got permission.
What?
Decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just interrupted a woman.
And that's fine. I got permission.
Can we agree? Everyone has 5 minutes. Can we agree?
Point of order again.
Congress has the power to do subpoenas in order to find information out and make policy decisions. That can make sense, maybe, sure. But this was not that. This was a bullshit, another Ken Starr type investigation like they did with Bill Clinton. This is just another bullshit, or like they did with Hillary and her emails and Hillary and Benghazi.
The assertion that I interrupted was absolutely false. That's typical of the gentleman who spoke it. I got permission to speak from the chairman. I spoke. I was interrupted yet again by the gentleman who doesn't choose to go through the chair and follow proper order. I encourage us. I think if we're going to have any respect at all, we need to have proper decorum.
Well said.
I'd like to finish.
The rules are everyone's going to be recognized for 5 minutes. Anyone that wants to be recognized will be recognized for 5 minutes. Ms. Mace has 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all. The facts in this case are crystal clear. This committee used and issued a lawful subpoena to Hunter Biden, a critical witness in this committee's investigation into Biden family corruption. Hunter Biden and his lawyers did not claim privilege of any kind because clearly he has none. They didn't contest the legitimacy of our reasons for issuing the subpoena, no reasons, because they clearly are legitimate. And yet he refused to comply. Trump's family member, Don Trump Jr., he did not defy congressional subpoena. He showed up multiple times for multiple depositions for several hours. In doing so, Hunter Biden broke the law. He did so deliberately. You did so flagrantly. You showed up on the Hill, on the Senate side, the day of that congressional subpoena to defy it and spit in the face of this committee. That's what you did. The question the American people are asking us is, what is Hunter Biden so afraid of? Why can't you show up for a congressional deposition? You're here for a political stunt. This is just a PR stunt to you. This is just a game that you are playing with the American people. You're playing with the truth. Hunter Biden wasn't afraid to sell access to Joe Biden to the highest bidder when he was in elected office. He wasn't afraid to trade on the Biden brand, peddle influence, and share those ill-gotten gains with members of his family, including Joe Biden. He wasn't afraid to compromise the integrity of the presidency and vice presidency by involving...
It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Joe Biden's shady business deals with our foreign adversaries. But Hunter Biden, you were too afraid to show up for a deposition. And you still can't today. I believe that Hunter Biden should be held completely in contempt. I think he should be hauled off to jail right now. Because it wasn't long ago, too, my friends on the other side of the aisle, that you also believed in the power of a congressional subpoena. Not long ago at all. You believed in holding those who refuse to comply with congressional subpoena accountable. And I stood with each and every one of you. I am the only member in this room today who has held a member of my own party in contempt of Congress for not showing up for a subpoena. And I see nothing but complete hypocrisy on the other side of the aisle. The ranking member of this committee even so eloquently put it. The lesson is, please tell your children out there in America, if you get a subpoena to go before Congress, go. You have a legal responsibility to do so. So the hypocrisy is stunning. What are we to tell our children today? There's nothing the other side can say with a straight face. As the only member of this committee to vote to hold a member of contempt of my own party, let me be clear. This should not be a partisan issue. If Congress issues a subpoena, you show up, period. This is not a responsibility we take lightly. It brings no joy for us to do this, but the president's son broke the law and must be held accountable in the same way anybody else would. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do so. And my last message to you, Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question? Will the gentlelady yield? Will my friend yield from South Carolina?
Sure.
I do want to commend the gentlelady who was the only Republican who stood up and voted to hold in contempt the Republican members of the House who blatantly and categorically refused to comply with subpoenas that came from the bipartisan January 6th committee. I would like to ask my friend, Ms. Mace from South Carolina, whether she's aware of all the case law which says that the committee has to engage in good faith interaction with the witnesses they've called and they're supposed to arrive at a solution. And what do you think about the fact that the chairman on multiple occasions gave this witness the opportunity to come before the full committee and he agreed to that?
We issued a congressional subpoena, and I know with your constitutional law background, you know exactly what that means, and he should have...
She's playing games. She won't answer that. It has to be closed door because they don't want any of it to be public because they want to be able to twist and make this into whatever they want the thing to be. That's the only reason why that's why when the Republicans, that's why Trump and all of these other traitors, when they were saying like, oh, the J6 Select Committee, they deleted all the evidence. Deleted what evidence? Bullshit. It's a fucking lie. And that's why they can never point to anything. That's why when Tucker Carlson said, oh, we've got millions of hours of footage to release that exonerates all the J6, it never fucking happened because it was a fucking lie. It's always a lie. These are the games that they play and they accuse other people of playing them. But the Democrats don't. Should they? I don't know.
Shut up. And because of your vote, because of your statements, you should be voting to hold this man in contempt of Congress today, right now, if you're going to be consistent on your own policies and your own words.
Clerk will call the roll. Mr. Chairman, we're going to have an opportunity to speak on the... Yes, we're going to... Oh, I'm sorry. We already had done that at great length. Well, I think...
Dick Durbin Center. Oh, wrong. Different thing. Okay, sorry. Says, assuming his royal special envoy Witkoff, a 68-year-old longtime friend of Trump's, is parallel father and son dealings with the UAE are a stark example of how world liberty's efforts have coincided with official government business. In pitch calls to crypto company, Zach Witkoff has described Trump as like a godfather and said that world liberty would be well positioned to take advantage of the growing number of crypto regulatory changes in the U.S. According to people familiar with the matter, his postings on X regularly cite his father's work for the White House. The extraordinary blurring of government negotiations and private business dealings is rewriting the diplomatic playbook for some foreign countries looking to gain traction with the new Trump administration. The extent to which Trump associates, including the Witkoffs, have sought business since the inauguration in the Persian Gulf and elsewhere has been previously reported. Nation hiring U.S. lobbyists and sending delegations to Washington to improve ties with the Trump White House, some countries seeking to advance their causes have met with family members of U.S. officials and their friends. According to people familiar with this, it's just like... Witkoff, who isn't taking a government salary and flies around the world on his personal jet, hasn't released a public financial disclosure. He said he would transfer his holdings to his sons. Oh, thank God. Is this the Beans lady, Nancy Mace? Yes, she's insane. Oh, I remember that. Oh, so Tucker Carlson had the documents. They were right next to the Epstein files. He had the documents that were going to put away. Tucker Carlson was going to put away Hunter Biden for good.
There's always a lot going on that we don't have time to get to on the air, but there's something specific going on behind the scenes right now that we did feel we should tell you about. So on Monday of this week, we received from a source a collection of confidential documents related to the Biden family. We believe those documents are authentic, they're real, and they're damning. At the time I received them, my executive producer, Justin Wells, and I were in Los Angeles preparing to interview Tony Bobolinsky about the Biden's business dealings in China, Ukraine, and other countries. So we texted a producer in New York and we asked him to send those documents to us in LA, and he did that. So Monday afternoon of this week, he shipped those documents overnight to California with a large national carrier, a brand name company that we've used, you've used countless times with never a single problem. But the Biden documents never arrived in Los Angeles. Tuesday morning, we received word from the shipping company that our package had been opened and the contents were missing. The documents had disappeared. Now, to its credit, the company took this very seriously and immediately began a search. They traced the envelope from the moment our producers dropped it off in Manhattan on Monday all the way to 3:40.
My dog ate my homework, literally.
Or a.m. yesterday morning. That's when an employee at a sorting facility in another state noticed that our package was open and empty. Apparently, it had been open. So the company's security team interviewed every one of its employees who touched the envelope we sent. They searched the plane and the trucks that carried it. They went through the office in New York where our producer dropped that package off. They combed the entire cavernous sorting facility. They used pictures of what we had sent so that searchers would know what to look for. They went far and beyond, but they found nothing. Those documents have vanished. As of tonight, the company has no idea and no working theory even about what happened to this trove of materials, documents that are directly relevant to the presidential campaign just 6 days from now. We spoke to executives at that company a few hours ago. They seemed baffled and deeply bothered by this, and so are we.
And they never they never reported on them. Like, just think about this. Just think about that. You didn't make a fucking copy? You didn't take a fucking picture? You didn't do anything to back up, theoretically, the most explosive expose in all of US history? You just stuck it in the mail and hoped it would show up? You didn't fax anything? There's no other thing like these people are demons, okay? These people are actual demons. Tickets are now on sale for the Houston leg of my anti-Trump Pangburn debate mayhem annihilation tour. If you've been at some of these events, get some airplane tickets, fly to Houston and come join me there. Or if you are on the West Coast or want to fly to the West Coast hang out, I'll be touring there as well. Check out below. There is a link to buy tickets. The next tour date is August 2nd in Houston. And then there's a whole bunch afterwards all along the West Coast. Make sure you check out the link below. Don't miss it. Be there. Buy merch. Maybe I'll even have some extra knives for you to buy. I misspoke. At that.